Hi and welcome everyone. In today's news, the police can now listen to your phone recording without a warrant in some states. Next, President Trump posted an AI-generated photo of him as the Pope. Lastly, Trump mocks transgender weightlifters in Alabama. Let's begin.
In today's news, the police can now listen to your phone recording without a warrant in some states. President Trump posted an AI-generated photo of him as the Pope. Lastly, Trump mocks transgender weightlifters in Alabama. Let's begin. Our top story examines developments in police surveillance. The ability of police to access the contents of your mobile phone without a warrant has sparked intense debate across the United Kingdom and the United States. In the UK, police forces have increasingly adopted mobile phone extraction technologies that allow officers to download vast amounts of personal information. These devices, manufactured by companies like Celebrate and MSAB, can extract text messages, call logs, location data, photos, and even deleted information in minutes. What's particularly troubling is the scale of this practice. At least 26 of the 47 UK police forces were using this technology as of 2018, with some forces extracting data from tens of thousands of phones annually. Privacy International, a digital rights organization, has documented numerous cases where police downloaded phone data without proper oversight. In one striking example, Erie County, New York police used devices called Stingrays at least 47 times between 2010 and 2015 to intercept phone data, obtaining a warrant in only one instance. Even more concerning is what happened in Baltimore, Maryland, where police deployed similar technology over 4,300 times since 2007, frequently without warrant. The Baltimore Sun reported that the FBI actually instructed police not to disclose these actions, prioritizing secrecy over the legal framework allowing this in the UK primarily stems from the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1980, which permits officers to seize and search property, including electronic devices, without a warrant under certain circumstances. When asked about this issue, one UK citizen expressed their concerns.
I think if the police are going to search anything, any kind of property that I own, they should have some kind of reason for that. They should have a legal document backing that up, giving them permission for it.
In the United States, the situation is more complex. While the landmark Supreme Court decision, Riley v. California, 2014, generally requires police to obtain a warrant to search a phone, numerous exceptions exist. For instance, border searches at airports don't require warrants, and under the third-party doctrine, information shared with company phone carrier has reduced. More troubling is the use of tools like Fog Reveal, which the Associated Press reported as being used by multiple police departments to track cell phone locations without warrant. Legal experts emphasize that no state explicitly permits police to intercept live calls without a warrant for routine investigation. However, warrantless searches of stored data, metadata, and location information are increasingly common. This situation raises serious concerns about privacy in the digital age. Critics argue that phones contain highly personal data, often more sensitive than what could be found in a home search, making warrantless access a significant intrusion into privacy. Privacy advocates continue to call for reform, with many pointing to the U.S. Supreme Court's Riley decision as a model that the UK and other jurisdictions should follow, requiring warrants for all phone searches. From surveillance concerns to political controversies, we turn now to an unusual image that has sparked debate across religious and political communities worldwide. Moving to our next story, political circles were buzzing this week after President Donald Trump posted an AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope on his Truth Social platform. The controversial image, which was posted on May 2, 2025, depicts Trump in traditional papal attire, complete with white cassock, pectoral cross, and mitre, seated in an ornate chair with a solemn expression. What made this particularly contentious was the timing, just 11 days after Pope Francis's death on April 21st, and days before the papal conclave set to begin on May 7th. The post follows comments made by Trump on April 30th when reporters asked him who he would like to see succeed Pope Francis. His response:
As Pope? I'd like to be Pope. That would be my number one choice. No, I don't know. I have no preference.
The image, posted without caption or explanation, was quickly reposted by the White House's official X and Instagram accounts, giving it an air of official endorsement and amplifying its reach. It garnered over 1 million likes on Instagram and sparked intense reactions across platforms. Catholic organizations were quick to condemn the post. The New York State Catholic Conference, representing New York's bishops, issued a strong rebuke on X, stating, "There is nothing clever or funny about this image, Mr. President. We just buried our beloved Pope Francis, and the cardinals are about to enter a solemn conclave to elect a new successor of St. Peter. Do not mock us." Similarly, former Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi called it an offense to believers and an insult to institutions. Italian newspaper La Repubblica featured the image with commentary accusing Trump of pathological megalomania. In the U.S., critics like former Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Steele labeled the post as affirming Trump's unserious and incapable nature, comparing his behavior to that of an emotionally scarred child. However, Trump's allies defended the post as harmless humor. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt emphasized that President Trump flew to Italy to pay his respects for Pope Francis and attend his funeral, and he has been a staunch champion for Catholics and religious liberty. Vice President J.D. Vance, a Catholic himself, dismissed criticism on X, writing, "As a general rule, I'm fine with people telling jokes and not fine with people starting stupid wars that kill thousands of my countrymen." The Vatican, meanwhile, has maintained diplomatic silence. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni declined to comment during a briefing on May 3rd, reflecting the Vatican's restraint amid the sensitive mourning period and conclave preparation. This incident is part of a pattern of Trump's use of AI-generated content. In February 2025, he and the White House posted an AI-generated image of Trump as a king after ending New York City's congestion pricing program. Previous examples include a fabricated video of the Gaza Strip as a Trump-branded resort, and false images suggesting Taylor Swift endorsed his 2024 campaign. The controversy highlights several broader issues: the role of AI in political communication, the boundaries of political humor, and the respect for religious institutions. Critics argue that such posts trivialize sacred offices and religious symbolism, while supporters see it as merely an extension of Trump's provocative communication style. As the papal conclave approaches, this incident remains a flashpoint in ongoing discussions about politics and the appropriate use of artificial intelligence in public discourse. The papal image controversy wasn't President Trump's only headline-grabbing moment this week. His commencement address at the University of Alabama has also sparked significant backlash for very different reasons. In our final story tonight, controversy erupted after President Donald Trump mocked transgender weights during a commencement address at the University of Alabama. The incident occurred on May 1, 2025, when Trump spoke to over 6,000 graduating students at the university's Coleman Coliseum. During his address, the president performed a physical impression of both cisgender and transgender women weightlifters, complete with grunting sounds and exaggerated movements. Here's what Trump said during the controversial segment.
You ever see the weightlifting? Where they have a record that wasn't broken in 18 years? And they have, should I imitate it? You know, my wife gets very upset when I do this. She said, darling, it's not presidential. I said, yeah, but people like it. Should I do it or not?
Trump claimed the stunt might get him in trouble with his wife Melania, who he said finds such impressions not presidential. He joked, "I'm in trouble when I get home, but that's okay, what the hell? I've been in lots of trouble before." In his impression, Trump portrayed a cisgender woman struggling to lift a weight while her proud parents watched, then contrasted this with a transgender woman effortlessly breaking the record. He claimed the transgender athlete was a failed weightlifter as a man who, after transitioning, broke the women's record by 119 pounds. Trump framed his remarks as part of his broader stance against transgender women in women's sports, promising to keep men out of women's sports. Reports indicate that the Alabama audience responded enthusiastically, with the crowd erupting in roaring applause. This performance comes in the context of Trump's aggressive policy agenda on transgender issues. Since retaking office in January 2025, in February he issued multiple executive orders targeting transgender rights, including one titled "Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports" that threatened to withhold federal funding from non-compliant institutions. Another order declared that only male and female sexes would be recognized by the federal government, affecting passports and other IDs. These policies have fueled legal battles, with states like Maine, Illinois, and Minnesota challenging federal mandates. For example, Trump recently settled a dispute with Maine Governor Janet Mills, restoring frozen funds after a feud over transgender athlete. Reactions to Trump's Alabama performance have been predictably polarized. Conservative media and supporters praised his stand, with Fox News framing the remarks as a defense of fairness in women's sport. Meanwhile, LGBTQ+ advocates and liberal media criticized the mockery. Yahoo News noted that Trump's impression made women athletes look weak and highlighted the rarity of transgender women dominating sports. Data suggests transgender women are a small minority in sports. NCAA President Charlie Baker noted fewer than 10 transgender athletes competed among 510,000 college athletes in 2024. Critics have also questioned the accuracy of Trump's claims. His statement about a transgender weightlifter breaking a record by 119 pounds lacks specific evidence in available reports and may be exaggerated for dramatic effect.